Today we have a podcast where we're going to learn about financial literacy, and here we have Richard Start from Beyond Bank Australia.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me. It's a real pleasure and a privilege to be here. I love talking to young people, and I think it's amazing that at your stage of life you understand and are inquisitive in regards to the importance of financial literacy and financial wellbeing. My role with Beyond Bank is the Community Development Manager. My role is to work in the community and with our community members to support them with their financial needs. These answers that I'm going to give have been researched and approved by Beyond Bank and by websites that we've looked up that are credible. And then some of them are questions that you've asked me about my own personal experience, my personal life.
What personality traits tend to indicate good money management?
Good money management traits, I guess, are people with patience, people that are responsible, people that are goal-driven, people that are confident, and people that are good at planning and organising. You need to be having a good relationship with your bank. You need to have a savings account and have a goal for those savings. So, you don't necessarily have to be huge goals, but, you might be saving just for something you've worked hard for, but set yourself a little goal. I think it's important to have goals. 5 categories of personality traits, and this is really interesting. So have a little think about what category you might fall into. So number 1, big spenders. Big spenders love nice cars, new gadgets, brand name clothing. People with a spending personality type aren't typically bargain shoppers. This often means a desire to have the latest and greatest technology and a beautiful home. Savers. Hopefully a few of you in this room have fallen into that category. So savers are the opposite of big spenders. They turn the lights off when leaving a room, close the refrigerator door quickly to keep in the cold, shop when necessary, rarely make purchases with credit cards. They generally have no debt or may be viewed as frugal. Savers are conservative and don't like taking risks with investment. That's me. I'm a saver. Shoppers. Shoppers often develop great emotional satisfaction with spending money. They can't resist spending, even if it's to buy items they don't need. Some save regularly through plans and may even invest a portion of any sudden windfalls to make a purchase. Debtors. Debtors aren't trying to make a statement with their expenditures. They commonly don't spend much time thinking about their money or tracking what they spend and where they spend it. Debtors generally spend more than they earn and are deeply in debt. And 5, investors. Investors are consciously aware of money. They understand their financial situations and try to put their money to work. Regardless of their financial standing, investors tend to seek when passive investments will provide sufficient income to cover their bills. Their actions are driven by careful decision making and their investments reflect the need to take a certain amount of risk. Have a little think about what category you might find yourself in, and we can definitely move between categories. We don't have to be staying in one lane. We could be a little bit of a couple of them.
Where is a good independent place to find financial advice?
Okay, so obviously starting with your bank, that's their job. That's what they love to do. If you want to take it to the next level, you could go and see a financial planner. But for free advice, moneysmart.gov.au is a great site. Probably don't ask your mate who likes to spend up with expensive cars or holidays. That's probably a little tip there.
What are the most common mistakes people make with money?
It's a pretty easy one for me, is quite simply they spend more than what they earn. Yeah, there's a term that you may or may not have heard called keeping up with the Joneses. That's often a cycle that people get caught up in where they see a friend or a neighbour or a relative that gets the newest and the latest and the greatest, and you've got people that want to try and keep up with them. So I would say that that's something to keep in mind. Not having a plan or a budget, just sort of spending, I guess, randomly at times. But yeah, you need to have a conversation with yourself really, and you need to understand what is something that I need now and what is something that I want now. And if you can convince yourself that needs are very different to wants, that will certainly help you in your life. We all have things in our lives that we would like more of. Coffee's a great example. I love going to the cafe. I love having coffee. I don't need to have coffee every day. I want to have coffee every day, but I choose not to have coffee every day because I know that it's not really in line with my budget and my savings plan. Try not to be impulsive. Marketing does a great job on us sometimes and they, oh, look at that. That looks nice. I'd like to have that. My golden rule is don't spend more than you earn, basically.
What should I do if I win a large amount of money?
Don't tell anyone, probably. You probably get a few extra friends and relatives coming out. I would say talk to your bank. They're going to be able to tell you or help you come up with a plan as to what professional advice they're going to give you, given your personal situation, your goals. If I use myself an example, the first thing I would do is I would wipe that debt, and then I'd definitely be getting some professional advice and keeping it on the down low.
Lake Macquarie Youth Council would like to acknowledge that this podcast series has been recorded on Awabakal lands. We would also like to thank Beyond Bank for their assistance with creating this podcast series. While thankful, please note that the Youth Council does not specifically endorse Beyond Bank's products or services.